Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. Today, we are interviewing Henry. You might also know him as Starlordy, and he is the CEO of Oniforce. And we also have another guest with us. We have Ulytra, who is a moderator for Oniforce and also a huge supporter and listener of the podcast. And Michael and I have both met her in person, and she's awesome. So yeah, we were like, we have to bring her onto this episode. But welcome to the show, you guys. Welcome in.
Hey, what's up? So excited to be here.
Yes.
Thank you. That was such a warm intro.
Awesome.
She's the best. She's the best.
There we go. Okay.
Guys, you're so too kind.
Yeah, we're pumped to dive into, you know what? There's so much we have to talk about, really.
Yeah.
There is so much history with Oniforce, and I want to get into that, but I want to actually, both of you, since you're both on here, I want to find out how you both got into the NFT space. If you can just kind of start out telling us what got you into the Web3 world.
Ladies first. Are you going to go first?
Ladies first, yes.
Okay. Honestly, my partner got me in. He bought a World of Women NFT. It was like 2021, like August-ish. And I was laughing at him for like spending as much as he did on a freaking JPEG. And then when they started becoming trending and like the bear started, it was going up. And it was literally like within like a week, I was just like, maybe there's something here. And I got into it and I bought my first one, which was a long necky lady. And I did sell her, but I'm always eyeing her, trying to get her back.
Shout out Nyla.
Yeah, she's great.
Yep.
Huge fan. And just kind of been in it ever since. I started becoming really active around the time that actually Henry joined Oni last February-ish. So we'll transition to him here. The main focus.
Yeah, no, first of all, I want to say thanks to Yuli for putting this together, because she is definitely an amazing person, and we're very lucky to have her on the team. So the way I discovered NFTs via Clubhouse in 2021, like a lot of people, probably like February, March of 2021. When I first looked into it, learned how smart contracts work. Actually, it's not a super glamorous reason, but I realized like actually the technology was something that as an artist, I think I'd been waiting for all my life. And I felt like it was actually the technology of the revolution. I think especially digital artists forever have not been protected or valued or rewarded. And then there was something about digital artists that there was like in society, it was always like expected for them to just be poor and like kind of get like the crumbs of any kind of benefit for artists. And so when I realized that smart contracts could actually protect people, that artists in particular, that made me go all in. Oh, well, at least in terms of in the concept. And then, I have a commercial production company, and we were just coming out of the pandemic, so a lot of work was coming in. So I was like, oh, I'll get back to this in like 6 months or something when I'm ready. And then I came back like 5 or 6 months later, and the whole thing had exploded. Like my friends that I was on Clubhouse with, like, I was like, wait, you're rich now? I'm like, what happened? Like, like the whole space is just, I could like, everybody has their stories of the things they missed and stuff, but like, I would have minted apes and maybe even other like big projects before, but I missed the boat. And then at that point I was like, okay, like this is you're in or you're out industry. So I'm in, and I just kind of changed my whole life, and I gave up what I call my past life to be in Web3 and be in NFTs.
So you were not at Oni from the beginning, right? Because they launched in August of 21.
So I was around right around the launch, but as a friend. Like I actually first I saw the art and I was like, whoa. I was like, it actually was literally my first PFP project that I realized like I loved the art, and I realized like art could actually be good for these PFP projects. Because to be honest, up to that point, I wasn't impressed with the art. And
You're not impressed with the apes art?
I am now actually. In the beginning,
okay.
in the beginning, I wasn't.
The price
sure.
makes it look, more attractive, right?
Always.
Well, actually, I think as an art appreciator, when I went back to look at the Bored Apes, I realized like there's an iconic element to them, regardless of the price point. I think obviously the price point helps solidify it, but like if you do stack them up against other PFP projects, there's something about the art that is actually iconic that like they did thoughtfully design, because even like the way you could draw apes, you could do like 100 different renditions and styles, and like I really study art, and like I realized like it is actually iconic. Like, but Oniforce was the one where I thought it's like high quality art, where it's like clearly like anybody who looks at it, it's like, oh, this is like kind of a different level. And so I fell in love with it. But by the time I really discovered it, it was like already like 7 ETH or something. So I was like, okay, like too rich for my blood. But I happened to meet some of the founders. So I was like, just hanging out with them, partying, like, meeting them at events, and just little known fact, I actually produced their video for Comic-Con when they went to San Diego. Like I'm the one that actually like sent somebody to go film it. And so I was like supporting from afar, just because I love the art and thought it was a really cool like project. And then around late January, when I was having lunch with some of the team, I hadn't really known the drama, to be honest, because I wasn't really in their Discord. And so it wasn't until my friend, who actually, shout out Joe, who collected them and showed me to them in the beginning, when I asked him, I was like, oh, how's Oniforce doing? And he was like, I sold mine. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's not Joe Bradley, is it?
No.
Okay.
My boy Joe Marks.
He's come up before on the podcast. That's why I'm crazy. Yeah. And he was also on Clubhouse, had Oniforce. So
right. No, this is actually one of my friends from like middle school who happened to get into NFTs before me, Oh, wow. And so when I heard there was rumblings of trouble when I was having lunch, I was like, hey, if you guys need help, let me know. In my mind, I was going to just be like a volunteer on the weekends or something and just like do some marketing help or whatever they needed. And then my boy William Tong like kind of pulled me to the side the next day and was like, hey, can you actually just be the project manager? And I was like, what? I was like, oh, okay, like that's quite a promotion already. And like it was definitely like, I love the art already. I was such a fanboy. And then it still had a great reputation as an original blue chip. So career-wise, it was obviously a great opportunity as well. Although it was definitely a challenge, because when I went in the Discord and saw that it was completely on fire and like incredibly toxic at that time, I was like, it's definitely not going to be easy, like if there is a downside that if I take this job and I fail, then it might sink my career before it even starts, But I think the main thing is when I was in the Discord, I saw that actually even the most angry person there never doubted or faded the actual quality of the art or the IP or the brand like value. And that's what gave me confidence. I was like, they're just angry because they watched their asset go from 7 to 0.2, right? Like everybody would be super angry at that. And there was a lack of transparency, all the stuff that led to that. And so I felt very confident after talking with Hired, who was the community manager I brought in, but really he was actually my partner. And I would have asked for him to be co-project manager, but they wouldn't allow that. So I was like, okay, you're just gonna have to be community manager. But he was really like kind of my secret weapon. And when he looked at it and felt similarly that we could rehabilitate it, that we jumped in.
Cool. Let's go back. Oh, go ahead, Jen. You're good. And then
I was just gonna say, how did you go from that to then being the CEO?
Oh, it was a very long period of painful Game of Thrones. It was insane. I definitely don't want to go too crazy into it because it's definitely not about like the drama, but it was like what happened was I mean, this is how backwards we were, is that the founders launched the project and did all that they did without even having incorporated. So there was a point where it was like, oh, like if you guys want to sell this company, you kind of need an entity to like be able to sell it and stuff, which they had already like started that or tried to start that process before I came in. And so basically what happened was at one point, like I think in May or something, I had diagnosed the sentiment in the space and I told them, you guys have to sell. Like, you know, they were already planning on it, but as like, if there was ever doubt, like you guys have to sell. And by the way, I think I should be the one to lead that. And because I was already doing the CEO's job, even without the title, right? And so I was like, since you have to incorporate, why don't you just give me the title and then I'll help you guys get the acquisition done. And then there was a long process that eventually led to them deciding that was the right choice. And so I ended up becoming CEO and then I decided to stay on after the acquisition because of the new ownership group is really good.
Cool. I love that. Let's go back to the very beginning because you mentioned it a couple times, but I want to bring people back because it was a wild time in NFTs. First off, before even the launch, like you talked about the old Clubhouse days and you talk about the founders, that's JR and Strawberry, right? That's who I think.
JR, Strawberry, I'm Complex, Link,
okay.
Link, and Crypto Spaces. Yeah, there's 5 of them. But it was JR's idea, I believe, when they originated. I think Strawberry was the first person he brought on, and then it brought on more people.
I remember Strawberry's original project, Strawberry.wtf, those little pixelated strawberries. You remember those?
Yes. He was also part of Pizza DAO too.
Yeah, exactly. True. So when Oni launched on August 18th, it was actually just a couple weeks after our podcast started in 2021. It was probably the first project that had that meteoric rise. It launched on the 18th. By the 22nd, it was 6.5 ETH.
Yeah.
That was it. And there weren't a lot of them doing right. There weren't a lot of them doing that at that point. I was buying, that was my heavy buying and selling. So I was buying and selling and buying and selling. And they minted for 0.077, which was like $250 at the time. ETH was a little bit higher. And they went crazy. And then, like you said, it went down to as low as like a quarter ETH or 0.2 by the end of 2022. Like a lot of things went down, but all this happened. But like people should realize that Oniforce, when it dropped, the art was incredible. Like it was different than what we've seen. They were side facing, like that was a big deal even. And they were super slick and it took over the whole space. Like it was the number one project. It was like they're going to be like Bored Apes. And all these musicians were buying in. Steve Aoki was buying in. Obviously there was a lot of people. Yeah. The real famous one, the Logan Paul, where there was a while where every time you would search NFT news, it would be like Logan Paul, $700,000 to $10. You know, like that's what people were seeing, and that was like the only news you could find. So because everyone was just writing nasty articles, but that was a really special time in NFTs, and Oniforce had a spot like that thing blew up. You were in those Clubhouse rooms those days back in those days.
Yeah.
Who were the rooms you were in? What was the crowd you were running with? Because I was there 24 hours a day on Clubhouse.
You know what? Damn, that's so long ago now. It's like a whole different world. I've popped into a lot of different rooms and I was always more low key. Like I had my own room that was about unicorn marketing. It was all about like holding office or space for like tech companies and stuff, because that's where a lot of my business was. But I was jumping in spaces like more like following people like Logic, or William Tong was like one of my good friends that I met there. And people like Swan and
Sit, yep.
Yeah.
We had Logic on just a couple months ago.
Yeah. So and I just was on a panel with him recently, which was really cool. And
Logic's the best.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then so I kind of just hopped around and just I was in like so many different spaces. I can't say I was good at hanging around in like particular rooms over and over, because I kind of have ADHD and just like jumped around in to see what was going on. Kamal Sood, I don't know if you know him. He was actually in a lot of Clubhouse spaces, but he's more on he wasn't really NFTs at that time. So yeah, I think when I was in Clubhouse, it's like I was in a lot of rooms where I was the only one talking about NFTs, you know, because I was like spreading the virus.
love that. Let me answer one more quick question, then I'll hand it back to Jenny.
Sure.
I want to circle back to what you said. You were in the Discord. It was very toxic when you first got in there. You were charged with changing that vibe and changing the dynamic. How did you do that? What do you go about to change,
That is a great question. I think I'm a values-based person. Like, I kind of tend to just make decisions based on values. Like, does this make sense for what I believe in? And when I looked at the Discord, I realized that the reason why it was toxic was because the founders were not good at communicating, and they were not transparent, and they had a lot of problems with like seeing and hearing people, if that makes sense. And so I realized, like, kind of almost like a relationship, like if somebody like betrays somebody, like that person, if they really want to fix things, they have to like be extra transparent. They have to communicate extra clearly. They have to like do all these extra steps to show that they actually care. And I realized like that was going to be our thing, is like just become like ultra transparent, and like even if it's not good news, like give them the bad news, as opposed to like trying to hide things or like sugarcoat things. And so I think the first one is just be like super, super honest and transparent. And then the second thing was reset expectations, because I think one of the big mistakes the founders made was, in the beginning, they weren't actually prepared for that level of success. And I think
totally.
Originally, I think the only thing they actually promised was a comic book. And then very quickly, as soon as everybody's like, oh, but you got to do a metaverse and you got to do all this. And they're like, okay, we're going to do all of it, even though they didn't have any clue how to execute it. So when I came in, their roadmap was like ridiculous. And I was like, there's no way we could do this. And so the first thing I did was I came to the community and I said, look, like, we're blowing up this roadmap. Like, roadmaps are dead. But out of the things in this roadmap that I think the community really expected were the Frames collection, which is the second collection, and then the comic book itself. So I said, okay, these are the two most important things that if we could deliver this on time, it will start to restore confidence, and they will see that we can actually execute. So even though at the time I didn't know how we were going to do it, I was just like, okay, end of Q1, we are doing this, right? And then like I wiped everything off the map. And then it became this mad rush to deliver, but we did actually deliver on time, which I think was the first big sign to the community that under new leadership, it's like we actually like say what we mean, and then we do what we say, and I think that alone is key to restoring confidence. And then the third part is like actually caring about people, like actually wanting to hear them out. And like if they say something, even if it's in a toxic manner, like trying to find the essence of what they really mean, and then incorporate that into the development of the project. So actually the community led a lot of the decision making in a lot of ways.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on to that, because as a community member first, at that point, as a holder, that toxicity was one of the reasons I stayed in the chat for as long as I did. And it's the reason that I like it's what helped me learn a lot, especially as somebody who was really new in the space, because people were asking real questions. People were asking real life situations about what happened and why this happened. They were being toxic, but at the same time, their points were so valid. And at the same time, Henry, instead of like ban or anything like that, or just like totally like muting them or putting them in timeout, he addressed almost every concern that I saw. And other members of the community would pop in and address the concerns. And I saw that, and I was just like sitting there, just like reading everything. And it helped so much. And then him putting out everything on time, just like you said, it helped build that trust. And people were so mean to him in the beginning. You guys like have no idea. They were brutal. The fact that he stuck around, we're just like really grateful.
Oh, you're making me emotional. Yeah. And it was a trial by fire. It was like a baptism by fire, because I had never actually managed an NFT project, and I had never even spent time in Discord that much, to be honest. And then to join a community and then immediately like they don't even know who you are yet, but they start like turning you into like clown face memes or like like starting rumors about why you're there and that you're just there to like, scam with the founders or do all this stuff. And I was like, what? I was like, it's kind of like I went in there like super innocent and like kind of like Bambi or something, and then I have to deal with but again, I did, the reason why I endured that is I did see that the anger and the pain came from the love for the brand. It's kind of like if somebody you love fails you, it's like there's this disappointment and this bitterness and this anger, but also there's a hope that like if they can heal themselves, that you would like support that or be there for that. So I kind of realized like it wasn't personal because they don't know me. So like even though it was like kind of a shock and I was like, oh, this stuff also lives forever on the internet. I was like, it's still like Yuli said, it's like they had good points. Like everything they were saying, what I learned, one of the first lessons I learned is actually the community is overall pretty right. Like they have a pretty good nose for when something is rotten or there's something off. And it was just like the way they were expressing it was in a very toxic manner.
And at the end of everything, trauma bonding is real. I'll just say that. You pop into the Discord, like trauma bonding is real.
It's true, I think, and that is actually why I refused to ban. Like literally for the whole year that I was there, I personally only banned one person, and even that person, I ended up unbanning them. Like I, definitely had my battles, but I refused to. I tried so hard not to ban people because I knew that like someday we were going to make it back. And I really wanted everybody to experience the joy of like being part of the comeback as well, right? Because for their journey to just end at like, oh, I came in when it was high and then we went low and then I got banned and kicked out. It's like, that's all they're going to remember for the rest of their life, And so I was like the saltiest person in the Discord. I was desperate for them to stay, just so that like, when we did have the change of ownership, that they could actually experience that pleasure as well. So I firmly believe out of all NFT projects currently in this space, no project has suffered this long and went like through this many like trials and tribulations. And I think, like Yuli said, like if you could go through that and stay together, like there's like this kind of, it becomes a family in a way where like you understand each other's pain in a way nobody else does. So you're like kind of united by that,
I feel that.
And then at one point in the Discord, he even had a salty gang role where you can even have that little salt emoji next to your Discord name. And it was just like the OGs of Oni all had that role, and everyone was just like, yep, that makes sense.
And they loved it. They loved having a salty role.
They did. They wore it with pride.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Ulytra, because you were saying like, you were kind of new to NFTs when you joined the OniForce Discord, and you're first of all, your community, you're a moderator, for the Discord now, and you're still rocking your OniForce as your PFP. Like, what drew you to the project and to want to be a part of it and to continue to want to be a part of it?
Honestly, seeing the effort being put in, and at the end of the day, being in the Discord and seeing that people, just like Henry said, people care. The reason that they are so upset is because they truly cared. And just being the first in the space to have like the sideways facing profile, the first anime project. But fun fact, when I saw it, I did not think anime at all. I thought of the Gorillas band art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember when people were saying that. Yes.
That was an inspiration. So she has a good eye.
Because, I literally did not think anime, which is so weird to say. But
that's fair.
Just sticking around and then learning and meeting people, making actual friends, and also like being able to learn so much in such a short amount of time. And honestly, like the founders, they like you guys said, they had no idea it was going to be as much as it was, and they overpromised, underdelivered, and it just spiraled out of there. So humans, we're all human.
Yeah, and that's why I try not to focus too much on their mistakes, because they also like apologize like a million times for it, and they still got dunked on. I think the challenge is they made a lot of mistakes that a lot of projects ended up doing, but they did it early, so they got a lot of the heat for it. That doesn't mean they didn't make some mistakes and they shouldn't be held accountable for them, but I think at the end of the day, I have to give him credit because when I had first came on board, I kind of interviewed each one individually, and they all to a T had said the same thing to me, which is that at the end, all they really cared about was finding like the right home, somebody who was going to like actually take this thing and grow it the right way. Like they're still very proud of what they created, and they know that it deserved better, So it's kind of like, and they held out for that because they did suffer for that year as well. I mean, they were hated the whole time, So you could imagine like how hard it is to be on Twitter, to go in spaces, to show up at events, and like knowing that people are talking smack about you and treating you like you're garbage, and then you still hold on to the project, and behind the scenes you're doing all the work of trying to keep it going, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that, and also I just want to give a shout out to Yuli because I knew she was a keeper when she was in the Discord, and she had an Oni hat, and she had it stolen or lost or something when she was at school, and she literally made a lost and found sign with her hat at school. Like, I didn't even know who she was at the time. And then Saul's like, this girl deserves a new hat. So like, I actually reached out to the original merch company and was like, tell me you have some hats left. And they're like, oh, we have like one hat. And I was like, send it to this person right now because like she needs her hat back. And I was like, this girl is super awesome and maybe a little crazy, but like the fact that she did like literally put a lost and found for a hat, I was like, that's exactly the type of community member that we need to protect and make sure that they are acknowledged and seen for like who they are, because that's our community,
That's incredible, Henry. You mentioned before the episode, but I'll reiterate, like, just so you know, she was in our Discord telling us when the frames launched. Watch Oni Force, everybody, Oni Force in our Discord. You have a superstar there.
Oh, 100%.
That you really do. I mean, I'd like to see her running it one day, or
she's going to be rising. I think.
Yes, I know she is.
She's already a boss. Like, I think we're very invested in her success as well. Yeah. So I think like, you'll see more and more of her, and as she elevates, we'll make sure that she gets the credit. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm really impressed.
You're gonna make me cry.
It's the truth, and you've also been such a friend of this podcast for as long as I can remember. And
oh my God, I love you guys.
Yeah, we love you too. And always in the Discord. But I remember when Frames came out, you're like, you got to see this. It's brand new. It's something new nobody's done before. Like people should have really freaked out when that came out because that was something. Everyone was getting robbed at that point. We haven't really heard of people recently getting. I mean, knock on wood, that hasn't been a thing in the last month or so. Also,
if our floor price was good at that time, it would have been a much more highlighted feature.
Right.
And we're still actually going to have a lot of utility for that. But I think it's one of those things where it's like you could innovate, but if you don't have the attention, then it just kind of slips by.
I hear that.
Yeah, I'm still popping up in people's faces and like, yo. This is a thing. I was on like Coffee with Captains like last week, and they were talking specifically about Web3 and security, and I was just like, choose me. I kept like applauding in the listener section, and then Steve noticed me, NFT Bart, and he just like put me on stage, and I was like, yo guys, this is like already there are solutions for this. Like this is an example, and you were there, Michael. Actually,
yeah, I remember.
I heard you're in the
Yep.
But yeah, I'm trying. It is definitely a thing, like having peace of mind when you link your wallet somewhere is like unheard of in the space, at least for now.
If it wasn't for you, Oni would have been out of my mind. I wouldn't, until like, obviously it made news when the acquisition happened, but like you kept it on our mind all this time. She really did, to all of us in the whole Discord.
And you still sold.
That's why she's part of the team now. I mean,
I know. I took a tax loss.
You still sold. Called out.
Oh man, that's messed
With
up.
the heat.
I had a nice one too. You got a really nice one too. I had it for a long time.
Hey, you know what? What I realized is like people suffered for so long with that asset that I don't actually hold it against anyone.
Yeah.
Our job is to now like get you excited and convince you to get back in, right? So
totally. Yeah, no, that was me. I'll be honest. Like when I did sell it, it got to a point I was just like, it's not coming back. I was like, I don't know. I was like, might as well get what I could get because it was still whatever it was, like 0.3.
I wonder if Andy still has his. He probably does.
Andy doesn't sell anything. I can almost guarantee you. Let's see what he says.
Because Andy had multiple, didn't he? Like he was a big fan. Andy, if you're alive, page.
What's up?
Here you go. Here's Andy. What's up?
We're
Andy?
wondering, do you still have your Oni forces? And like, yeah,
I only had one, and unfortunately, it took the loss
you
on it.
sold it.
So,
Okay,
in
okay.
fact, it was such a nice one. I saw when you guys had a post recently. It featured a few of them on there, and I saw mine on there. I'm like, oh my god, it reminded me of like.
God.
I'll have to share what it is, but yeah, I miss it.
I will
Actually,
say for anyone listening, if you minted or you have had it for any period of time, there will be future benefits for length of time held. So I think that
I held for a long time.
Yeah.
You sold it, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's okay. But I'm saying like we aren't done. We've been thinking very deeply how to reward people for how long they've held, how many they hold, the traits that they hold, like all the things that matter to collectors. Like we're going to make sure we reward that. So if anybody's listening and they've held for a long time and they're still on the fence, I would say, not financial advice, but it's probably give us
team huddle.
Yeah, give us a fair shot is what I'm asking for,
Yeah. So and right now the floor is 0.77. So it's on the rise. And I'm kind of curious what you guys are working on currently, because I know you kind of talked about a couple things here and there, but yeah, we'd love to hear what's going on.
Giving me the leak Starlordy gonna
I
appear?
support the leakage. Like
He does. He loves that.
The only thing
let's
I
get
would
some
pick at
alpha.
him
Let's
more
get
if I
some
wasn't
alpha.
a mod.
Alpha
Let's get
leak,
some
let's
alpha.
go. Come on.
Well, first of all, we're focusing on. I mean, there's a lot of things we have to do because it's like with the acquisition, it's almost like it's like a reboot. So it's almost we're starting a new project, except we have the benefit of like what was created as a foundation before. But frankly, for the past year, like we weren't really able or allowed to develop much utility or like direct value that we could pass on. It was more like I was just planting the seeds for it. So right now what we're doing is like, in terms of the IP, we've been working on developing that in terms of getting all the lore set. I Am Complex, the artist, has been doing a lot of work with like character designs and kind of completing like what he started and, working with our partners to basically get all the story and character stuff set, and then figuring out how to develop that IP for the mass market. So, and these are all things I've already publicly announced so far, but it's like, we're going to be in comic book stores all around the world. So like we will be the first Web3 company that has an actual distributed comic book line that any kid could walk into a store and pick it up next to a Spider-Man comic or X-Men comic. And that will be kind of a great initial milestone for us. So we're kind of have like what we call a road to Comic-Con. It's like we were the first Web3 project to be featured at Comic-Con. Well, we're going to be the first to come back with comic books, and then we're going to be the first to be distributed worldwide. And then that leads also to manga and, webtoon type stuff. We're going to be like all over basically. And then all the developments that go with IP stuff. So merch, like we're looking at everything like statues, figures, clothing, accessories, starting to get into the leaky area now, developing for other forms. Oh, hey, what's up, puppy? Other forms of media, which, the timing, I'm not sure. That's why I hesitate. It's like this year for sure, we're going to be focusing on a lot of physicals and stuff like that. And then we've been developing really cool programs actually that are more to expand the brand worldwide and create networks. So we have like, for instance, like a Oni club, like Club Oni that we're creating, which is basically like a network of chapters of clubs where the point is to actually just grow the Web3 network and mix it up with other projects and founders and stuff like that and collectors. So you're going to see us appearing in all sorts of territories in Asia and things like that on all over the world. And really the mission is not just to develop our own project, but to help lead the adoption of NFTs in the real world and connect NFT projects together, because we're still a very fragile early industry. And I think it's important for us to be like, set an example. And then, we have a lot of projects and people we're collaborating with, and we're going to be dropping like different types of activations, and then really focusing on elevating the brand. Because the thing is that we were known as like the high art PFP projects. So we naturally attract like a certain level of caliber of artists and talent to our brand. So we want to turn ourselves into a home for artists where we really like, you know, like for instance, when I was growing up, like reading comic books, like if you were an artist for like Marvel, let's say, and you got to draw Spider-Man or X-Men, that's like the mecca, right? Like it's like a badge of honor to be like an artist on those titles. And a lot of artists grow up like dreaming to be an official artist. So I think we want to create that same level of respect, and where it's like if you're a Web 2 or Web 3 artist and you want to really grow your career and your network, then Oniforce is probably the place you want to start at, because we're going to give you like our resources. That's why we started a 50 ETH artist fund to like give grants to artists and help them like advance their careers. We have like a artist in residence program, and we're going to be like taking an active role in helping to develop artists' careers and bring them more opportunity, create sustainability for artists in the space. And so we'll be kind of launching our own open agency around that, where we'll be representing people. And then, yeah, just kind of like, I also think like fun is a utility. So like we're going to start rolling out a lot of cool things that are very holder centric utility and values, where it's like we're going to start really, really rewarding people for holding Onis. And yeah, it's going to be, I basically what we want is we want to create a place where it's like so fun. Like you might come for the opportunity or the price action or floor price, but you're going to want to stay for like the community and the experience that you get out of it. That's what we're really trying to build.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, shout out to Ulytra's dog in the background. We just see this giant fluffy dog that is just so cute.
Yes.
Distracting us.
He is pretty cute.
She's literally laying on a pillow.
He or
Look at
she,
her.
I'm not sure. I know her. Oh, so sweet. So sweet. Is it public who purchased Oniforce?
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's actually a group purchase. So it's led by a fund called OFR, which stands for Old Fashioned Research, which is put together by the ex-CFO of Binance and the Binance Labs team. So they are pretty incredible. Not just from a resume standpoint, but they're actually really awesome people. Like I think the only reason why I stayed is because their values are very much aligned with mine. But Wei is the head of that. He was the CFO of Binance, and he basically created Binance Labs. And as Wizard of Soho tweeted, Binance Labs was like literally the greatest M&A group in crypto history. Like they've had hundreds of acquisitions and have made billions of dollars for Binance. Wow. And Wei himself was CFO of 2 companies that IPO'd. So like his ability to scale a brand and know what it takes to go from like 0 to like billions of dollars in value is like, I don't think there's any actual ownership group in this space right now that has that same resume for NFT projects. And then also Gultra, who's the COO of Yield Guild Games, which is the biggest like gaming guild for crypto, also came from Binance too. And then myself and William Tong are also part of the ownership group.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a really good group. But the main thing is that, you know, aside from their resumes, which are huge, they are actually like cool people. Like I drunk texted Wei like during NFT to tell him how much I love working for him, because like it's like he's a master. So and our values are very aligned actually. Like and I've told this before, but it's like at one point I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay, you know, like after the acquisition, because I was, you know, I have a lot of opportunity. And then I was like, he had sent this email about how he really wants Oniforce to be positive and like represent hope and light and opportunity for the space. And then he kind of like ended the email just saying love is love, you know? And I was like, oh, that's my guy. Like I can get behind that. Like, you know, like he is like kind of like this whole spiritual element to him, which I think is incredible, because what I learned is like your values affect your company, your brand. Like it always trickles down. And so I think for him to come from a place of positivity was what I needed to know to decide to stay, like, because, other people that pitched us were just like more focused on the monetary opportunity or like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this guy knows how to make billions of dollars, but he also is focused on like making sure everybody's super happy. And he's very focused on the community. That's why he actually referred to it as a community buyout. It's like when they were figuring out the value of the brand, it wasn't just about trade volume or, mint, that sort of stuff. It was really about like the value of the community. And so definitely shout out to the community, because I think they're the ones that showed him that there was real value to this project, because they were so dire. I mean, you have people like Yuli putting like, lost and found signs of their like hats. It's like, that's worth money to people, that's like, you can't buy that kind of love, like, I think it's something that either exists or doesn't. So yeah, we got a great ownership group. Now when people ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, every day I'm living the dream, like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How much did it end up selling for?
That I can't say yet. I think maybe at some
Michael's trying to get the tea.
Yeah,
I knew that wasn't like out there.
So how much?
that was a good question. I
guess like 1.5.
I'm trying to guess how much.
More than that.
Blink twice, a little more than that, because I know Pudgy's went for 2.5, so maybe it's around that. You can blink twice if I'm close.
Okay, now we're getting into that. I got to be super careful. I think
if you're not allowed to talk, we'll move on.
Yeah. Well, I think at some point, I wouldn't mind, but I was kind of asked not to share it at this point. Just there's plenty of legitimate reasons not to share it at this point, but I will just say that it was very fair and very competitive. So I think, and I will say one thing though, to credit the founders, is they did not sell for the highest dollar amount. Actually, like they did actually prioritize finding the right team. There were some people that just started, like, when it got really like heated, just started like throwing money at it and being like, we'll do this. And it's like, well, but your vision still isn't what we're looking for. So, I do have to give a shout out to the founders for making the right choice and not.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much today about Uniforce. Like, and also that's amazing. You guys are coming out with physical stuff. The comics, like, that sounds sick. Knowing that the new ownership are basically legends from Binance. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff. So yeah, this was awesome. Awesome to learn about.
Are you bullish,
you
Jenny?
do a better job of telling everyone.
Bullish. Bullish. Let's go.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Michael, we have some rapid fire questions. Should we, or no, they're not called that. What are we calling them?
Right. We have a new segment. This is going to be the first time that we're doing it. It's called Gas Wars, because I'm full of hot air. So what we're basically going to do, we're going to go back and forth. So I'll ask a question and I want a quick answer. So we'll do a quick answer from Ulytra, a quick answer from Henry, and then Jenny will ask a question. We're going to have 5 each. This is our first time, so we're going to see how it goes. It's kind of an experiment. It's called Gas Wars, our new segment.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm nervous, but let's go.
So you guys ready? We'll try and do it quick. All right, so I'll ask my question. We'll get Ulytra, Henry, and then Jenny will ask her question. Ulytra, Henry, me, and we'll go 5 real quick.
I don't even know what kind of questions you have.
I'm scared.
I don't know what kind of questions you have. My first one, apes or punks?
Ooh, apes.
Apes.
Oh,
we're on the same page.
Jenny?
Favorite blockchain?
Besides you?
No, whatever, whichever. It doesn't have to be besides ETH.
I'm going
to
to vote still ETH, because I just haven't had enough time to explore others, but I'm sure there will be something, because like Polygon sponsored everything at NFT NYC last year. So, and the Starbucks Odyssey is there.
I'm going to say ETH I'm also a Bitcoin maxi, and I also like Polygon and AVAX. So I just cheated.
Nice.
Also shout out to Mutable X.
He's a politician. Let's move on.
He's a politician.
He's a good CEO.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Pulp Fiction.
Nice.
Coraline. I'm sorry. I don't know why my mind went there.
I remember.
Yeah.
First NFT you ever owned?
Long Nike Lady 2105.
Oh my god, mine's embarrassing.
I think
It was some project called like Junior Punks, or so it was some like awful derivative
Crypto
thing.
Baby Punks?
No, it was like
Crypto
Junior.
Baby Punks was a good one. That was a good one.
Crypto Baby Punks is fine. No, it was someone where it's like just totally FOMO'd the wrong way and was like, oh, like, yeah.
Wait, Ulytra, what was yours?
The long necky lady 2105.
Oh,
I think.
that's
Nice,
right. That's
nice.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, you remember the number? That's good.
I do. I look her up every now and then. I'm like, I want her back. But now that I said that, I don't know.
The real holder there.
All right. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Multiple man. I'll do more work.
Hey.
I would want to be able to stop time just because I don't have enough of it. So like transportation sucks.
Buddy.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
I would like to say I'm an early bird, but I think it's the latter. I think it's like if it gets late enough, then it's early.
That's
All
a
right.
total degen answer.
Fair. Mm-hmm.
Favorite hobby outside of Web3?
Comic books?
You and Andy would get along.
I don't think I have one. That's very sad. I'm sorry.
Walking your dog?
Yeah, spending time with my babies.
And you have a cat.
That's a good hobby, and you have a cat as well.
I have two. My other one's over there.
Oh, really? I have a black cat too. They're the best.
I saw the tail.
Yeah, I know. My little Daria. Okay. Oh, it's my turn, right? Cats or dogs? This ties in, I guess.
Ooh. I grew up a dog person. My ex turned me into a cat person. So I still like both. I always liked both in the beginning. I lean more dogs and now I lean more cats. So yeah.
She thinks she's a cat.
No,
She thinks she's a cat. She actually loafs because she grew up with cats.
Oh,
so I'm a cat, honestly.
Yeah, Team Cat, let's go.
My final question is: what is the next NFT meta?
Ooh.
That's a hard one, Michael.
That's a tough one. I know. That's a loaded question.
I think honesty and integrity is the next meta.
All right. In this space, we'll see.
I know. I'm just wishful thinking.
Wow.
Actually, it's me trying to be positive.
Yeah.
What I keep saying this to my friend and everybody thinks I'm stupid, but I think one of the next meta is people are going to start paying people to mint.
One project did that. Who did that? That was was that Cibal, right?
Yeah. We had her on. Yeah, she paid people to mint.
Like 0.01. Everyone that minted it's got 0.01.
Yeah.
I think maybe not the next meta, but I could see brands coming in and being like, we want user acquisition. We normally spend like $20 to $100 to get somebody. So how about we pay you to mint this and then incentivize you to hold it? Like, I
brilliant. I like that. Yeah.
That's one meta I think I could see happening.
I really like the Izu concept. When I first heard about it, it's the secondary to Psychedelics Anonymous, if my memory serves me right. They have like a where to earn, like a where loyalty program for what they're doing. It's been a minute since I checked in, but when I read about it, I thought that was really cool because they could like literally track your loyalty and reward you for it, like in a phygital and a like digital aspect. And I thought that was really cool.
Oh,
totally. Yeah.
Actually, I will add one more idea to that. I think the next meta is also like creating complete points-based reward systems for everything that we do to create better incentives and track people's like behavior and stuff. I think that's probably.
Yep.
You need to like Starbucks Odyssey.
That's what they're doing.
No, I think that is definitely a meta that's underway that we haven't seen it launch properly yet, but I think that is where we're headed.
You're totally right. There's actually a lot of projects I've started noticing are diving into that a little bit. Rug Radio, they're giving you stuff when you listen. You actually have to listen. You get the password. You can mint an NFT. Like projects are tracking how much you post about them and things like that. That's definitely coming. That's a good point.
Enzo did that with his podcast. He was on your guys' show as well.
Yeah,
I remember he had a special word.
Okay, Jenny did a panel with him last weekend.
Yeah, in Miami. Yeah, it was cool to meet him in person. He's awesome. Okay, I'll pick a more because you picked, okay, my last one because I have a bunch here.
Okay, let's go.
What's a book that changed your life?
Ooh, I recently read a book called Untethered Soul. It's a book. It really helps explain how like we're going through this experience, and a lot of times we have trauma or suffering because we're very attached to our identities and the idea that like our experiences like are us, but actually like we're just experiencing the things that happen, but that doesn't mean it is us, right? So a lot of times we create these narratives that like, oh, if you fail, you're like, I'm a failure. But actually, you're not a failure. You just experienced a failure, like there's a difference. So really the message of it is like learning to let go of things and just let them be for what they are and just experience it. So it's kind of like a little spiritual book, but it actually helped me a lot in terms of realizing that we all have these narratives in our head and we kind of dictate our happiness based on that narrative. And we need to kind of let it go because it's just more about like understanding good or bad. It's just a moment that we're experiencing. So that was a really good book.
Okay. Ulytra, what about you?
I can't follow that. That was really good.
She's like the untethered soul.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That was mine.
She's like, I read this book called Untethered Soul.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'll just, if I had to choose, I choose a person actually. It was one of my professors, and shout out to him, Professor Mark Janis in BMCC. Just the way that he taught life and approached everything. I have like a communications degree, and he's just like amazing.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, you guys made this first Gas Wars smooth. Thank you for participating in our first segment.
That
was good, Michael.
It was good. I know. I think that's a good segment.
So should we do? We have to do different questions every time, right?
Yeah, we'll do. Well, we don't. We could do it every one.
Or some could be similar.
I might ask everybody. Apes or punks is a good one.
Apes or punks is a very good one. It kind of reveals like what do you value more,
Right.
For me, it's the community that goes with the apes. I think is kind of like
you guys both said apes.
Yeah.
Not blowing smoke up my butt, I hope.
Yeah,
not at all.
Not biased at all with my 8 PFP here, but
right. Apes or punks.
Yeah, you gotta ask it like that.
Right. Apes or punks.
Well, I don't want to fade punks. I would say
no way.
They have their different value props, but for me, it's like I'm in this for the community, So it's like I think the apes had proven themselves as an incredible community, so it's like I would love to be in that myself, So that's
for sure.
Probably why I said apes. Let me in.
Let me in. Oh man!
As long as you don't leave Oni, that's it.
Never. Oni was always my first love. Always be. This is how good Yuli is. She is the most brutal.
I'll ground you back.
Yeah, she will keep me in check. So but I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, what a good time, Henry. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with all of your answers, your vision. You seem like a good dude, and I do hope I get back into Oni Force at some point soon. I'd love to be part of the community, and I'm going to be watching, and I won't be able to not watch. Because
do all of you guys don't have Oni? None of you?
No, we
so
don't.
If I were to hypothetically gift each of you an Oni, would you?
Yes.
Would you hodl it?
I'm in here too.
Hypothetically, I would hodl it.
Okay, I'm the ultimate hodler, first of all. So you know that.
She is. She's still holding doodles. She's like a diehard fan.
Still holding my cool cat. Still holding.
If I send you guys an Oni and you are not still holding it by this time next year, then I'm going to be.
We have to bring you back. We'll bring you back.
We'll bring you back. There'd be no reason to sell. You give us one, that'd be awesome.
Okay, you know what?
Hell yeah, that'd be sick.
And I'm only doing this for Yuli because she genuinely loves your pods. Like she literally sends me episodes and like, listen to this episode and like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gift all three of you.
Wow!
But I want to be back on here next year and let's do a recap. And see how we're doing as a project, and hopefully we've given you enough reason to keep hodling. So
that's incredible.
Andy's sending a heart.
This is not an offer for other podcasts, so please do not
if you have a podcast, get Henry on.
In fact, now I feel guilty. Like there's other podcasts I really enjoyed being on, but they're probably gonna be like, "Wait a second,
wait a damn minute." Yeah,
got myself in trouble. But either way, like it's all good. So,
that's amazing. We'll
consider it a gift because of Yuli.
Incredible.
Yeah. So
wow. Yuli, thank you, Yuli. You made this happen.
I did nothing. I had no idea. I swear to God, this is all Henry.
This is a first, right, Michael? This is a monumental moment. Yeah.
This is a monumental moment. I said I was impressed. I'm even more impressed. That's really nice. Really nice. Honestly, I mean, like, it's really, really nice. And there'd be no reason to sell. Like, we'll have it.
I'm going to make sure you don't have a reason. Yeah, if you do sell, it'll mean something went horribly wrong, and so we're not going to allow that. All right.
Can't sell for a year anyway because of the short-term capital gains. Get it for free. It doesn't really make sense.
Now we know who the businessman is of the group.
Yeah, Michael.
No, but all seriousness, it's been so fun, and again, I've heard
this has been great.
Great things about you. So I think, and then that way you could also. Again, we're about to start rolling out all the perks, so you probably want to hold one, and you could start experiencing like the joy of being a part.
That's
1,000%.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna interrupt because this is the biggest platform I've been on so far, even with the spaces. But mint your freaking frames, you guys. Seriously, go to the website, mint your frame. It's recall. Once you guys have
once you have the Oni, you recall the frame, and it comes to you, right?
Yeah,
it's 2-for-1 deal. It's actually 3-for-1. You get a Genesis, you get a frame, and you get a comic book token. So which means you read the comic book, and later on you'll be able to redeem it for a physical. So I just think that it's a lot of like it's just the beginning. Like there'll be a lot of cool stuff tied to it.
That's really special, man. Henry, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude.
Okay.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll have to connect after this. You guys, make sure you're following them on Twitter. First of all, Starlordy. StarLordyFTW on Twitter. That's Henry's Twitter. And then Ulytra's Twitter is ULYTRA_ETH. Okay, so there we go, folks. We'll link it in the show notes as well, but sometimes you gotta spell it out because people don't click on the links. Anyway, all right. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on the next one.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.